Tie Tuesday rating me.
It wasn't even sentence mixing. It was just cutting out the part where he says snooping as usual and had it just be Pingus. And that's all it needed to be.
Yep.
Pingus is so simple but so beautiful. Oh my god. I'm 30 or 40 years old and I need people to understand that Pingus, height of comedy. All right, I'm going to go use the restroom. I'll be back.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, do I not have a Thai Fugi set up already? Okay. Thank you for the follows, everybody. Where is my web capture? Browser capture, there we are.
I gotta pull us up here. Aha! Hello.
Thank you for the sub peroxal. Oh, I'm doubling Fugi. Hold on.
Oh, you.
There were two co-buddies hanging out.
You could add more. Like if you have like 3 or 4 of them stacked, like slight delay, you know. Ah, good ties.
Thank you for the sub Caliper. The fact that Ty's fucking thing is like
What?
You know,
your
normal.
Your putt is like slightly transparent, like it's not filled in all the way.
Yeah, I made it out of a completely strange like a really weird brush. It was like a little like starburst brush, like a square that was like squeezed in on the sides. And I didn't let it fill in all the way, which is why it has like so many weird, terrible, jagged edges and like the teeth look as disconcerting as they do. It looks like one of those like sharks with like, 10,000 teeth in their mouth or whatever. Too many. All right, let me blue sky out that we are starting this as well.
Yes.
Let's go, buddy. Have you already?
I did a thing that said we were going live 2 hours ago, but
oh, okay. Do you mind if I screenshot this first slide to use
go ahead.
on Blue Sky? Okay, beautiful. Because this is a great,
welcome to
beautiful hook, frankly. All right, and I have done the post. Sick. Let me get it.
Also, oh my god, I just kind of looked at your slime slio and the fucking the cards. Beautiful.
Yeah, Vpris put this together for me, and it's very great.
So many skulls.
Love to find good places to use this one.
Yeah, regrettably, Florida. I think I have everything set up on my end. If we're good to...
Should we be expecting audio, or should I provide my own on my end?
No, yeah, provide your own audio.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Thinking about Florida has me recalling that Netrunner would have their worlds at Fantasy Flight headquarters, which is a suburb of the Twin Cities in Minnesota, in like late November. Like just, hey, it's like 20 degrees out, come out to Minnesota. Like everybody have a good old time, fly in here into a foot of snow. It's a great time.
Yeah, it was thankfully when it wasn't that bad the entire weekend, but when we got into Florida, like when we crossed the border, I saw the temperature in the temperature reading our car jump up from like 60 to like 80 in a matter of seconds.
Cross the border, and they got that sunshine directly for you.
Doing pretty good, Danny. Yeah, the sunshine is directly for me. But yeah, hello everybody. So if you missed when I last streamed, that was the Death Notes marathon, which pretty much funded this entire trip to Florida. I was originally, because my dad went with me, my dad took me and all that. It was originally gonna be we were gonna split it. I was going to pay for the hotel. He would pay for gas and the rental car. Due to everyone's incredible generosity, I was able to fund this trip for both of us pretty much wholesale.
Nice.
And that includes food, gas, everything. Yeah. So thank you all for that. For those who don't know about Universes, and I'm assuming that's going to be all of you because it is not exactly a massively popular card game. It is effectively the Fortnite of card games, where we have a whole shit ton of IPs into one central game system. They all plays by the same rules, but you can mix and match cards from every IP that have been added. Unlike certain other multi-IP games that you might have heard of, like say Union Arena, which you can only stick to those IPs.
They actually like lock it by property.
Yeah.
On other ones?
Yeah, Union Arena, as Yushanti brings up, White Wars, locks by IP. Universes does not do that. Universes lets you play as King Ghidorah and throw attacks from My Hero Academia and Star Trek at your opponent.
Give them the spinning pile driver out of Godzilla's arms.
Exactly. But yeah, I've only been playing this game for a little over a year now. But yeah, I wanted to go to the bigger events. I went to a regional tournament. I think it was October of last year in Georgia. That was when we got hit by a hurricane. And we were without power when I left for Georgia and didn't come back until like that Saturday. Thankfully Georgia had power and all that, but yeah, I wanted to give a sort of recap since Twitch chat was the people who ostensibly paid for this trip. And also, Ty and Slyo like doing card stuff. So I figured I'd also give them chances to evaluate cards that they haven't seen before.
Yeah. Famously, I never mess up when evaluating cards. I'm always right on it. I've never made a mistake. I've never said a card was going to be good and then it was bad. And the opposite has also never happened. I always look at a card and know exactly how good it is, regardless of full context of the format and the game itself.
Yeah, 100% hit rate. And like,
yeah,
the times I've seen where like you've been like, nah, I am certain this is correct. Everybody else is against you. You were right. You were right the whole time.
Every time.
Like,
I've never been flatly wrong about a card. Please do not watch any of my Eternal VODs in history. Look, we all had to make our big bad calls once or twice. Underestimating a planeswalker or missing a single interaction. It happens, but
Everybody's got to be like Oko. I'm like, okay, fine, probably like a fine card, like not that.
yeah, Oko, yeah,
Like,
that's the thing. They have full ass teams of professionals put together to explicitly make sure shit like Oko doesn't happen. And there's a reason we have a name for the event, because Oko did happen.
But yeah, important stuff to get out of the way. First and foremost, man, American Horror Story is really fucking bad.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a really bad show.
How far did you get through on the drive in and out?
Oh god, we got to like the second to last episode, I think. But so Ty, a while ago, I DM'd you. Which season did you think you talked the least about politics in?
And I believe my answer was none of them. We kind of can't help it. We are like that inherently. Yeah.
Asylum was the one I remembered having the least, so that's the one that I picked on the ride. However, you did substitute a lot of talk about political stuff with talk about sucking dicks.
Well, there's a lot of sucking dick going around.
There was a lot of sucking dick going on.
A lot of people are slogging hog. What do you want from me?
But yeah, so that was our entertainment for both up and down.
What can you do?
Like there is a background character in Asylum, and I remember this, who literally his whole character is that he jerks off like badly. Like he's like punching himself in the dick every time he's on camera. Like full on like whap 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 whap. And it's just like that's all he does. So like, what do you want me to talk about?
But yeah, food was pretty good.
Nice.
The two images on the right, or actually three, because the pretzels were also from that same place. It was a place called Ford's Garage, which is a Florida chain only. But if it wasn't, the way I would describe this place is, if it was like a national chain, it's a place that Ted Nivison and Eddie Burback would go to as part of a video.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because the entire place was like car and garage themed. Like,
yes.
the napkins were even kind of like scented to like be like smell like a garage almost.
Like you're sitting in the. Do you have like a TV up in the corner and you're sitting at like a table that's like. It's not it's a fold up table, right? And you're
yeah. Also, the windows were literal repurposed garage doors.
Good. Okay.
That's so sick.
Cause yeah, we were sitting there and they were gonna open the window to let some air in, and it was literally them going from the bottom and opening a fucking garage door. It was wild. Then the food was pretty good. It was like a slightly above a like Applebee's, Chili's, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like classical family restaurant fare.
Yeah.
Yeah, pizza was really good. I don't remember the name of that restaurant, but
the sandwich looks good.
Yeah, that was what my dad got, and he liked it a lot. It was.
I like pretzels and cheese dip because I'm a simple man.
Yeah. The beer cheese they had was actually really fucking good.
Oh man.
Oh, also a fun thing about Ford's Garage. They told this up to us like up front. They actually fucking pay their servers a wage instead of relying on tips, so...
Yo, 10 out of 10
based.
there.
Yeah, very good. As somebody who worked as a server and did have to rely on tips and then had to deal with the fun law that existed in my state of messing with my pay that I won't get too into, yeah, I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, I very much appreciate that. Anyway, that's it.
Oh,
right.
sick. Okay,
Thanks-
well, good
thanks for
trip.
streaming,
Good trip.
everybody.
Yeah.
Good time. Good time.
But yeah, no.
That would be like my dad's full notes on a trip. He'd be like, I ate like a really sick burger.
Like I had a burger, listened to like 10 episodes of a podcast, drove for 22 hours, and
God, yeah, the drive was nightmarish. It was like a 20-hour drive back and forth.
Yeah.
Because like Google Maps said it would be 8 hours. Traffic made that take so much longer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but long trips like that, if it's like any kind of winter month, even a little bit, it's just almost always going to be some place where something stupid happened and you're down an hour instantly.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so as for the actual event, it was hosted at the Sheraton. That is not where we stayed. We stayed like 4 minutes away at the Rosen Inn. It was a decent enough place, probably overpriced, but that's fucking Florida on Valentine's Day weekend for you.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows, that was a decision they made. But yeah, I took part in what was called the LCQ, or Last Chance Qualifier. Which was effectively, if I had gone top 8, that would have been me getting into the full Worlds Championship.
So the Worlds event over the weekend, the big event was like an invite, like pro tour you had to get into in some way. Okay.
Yeah, effectively it was like, if you got enough quote-unquote points, you would get an invite. If you won a regional event, you would get an invite, or a national event, you would get an invite, that sort of thing. And if you didn't, you could participate in the Last Chance Qualifier. Of which there were 80 people in the Last Chance Qualifier. So probably smaller, I would assume, than like your average Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh event, but
yeah. That's,
Magic events now are like starting to push into the thousands for
that
really
sounds
big
about
ones.
right.
Magic Grand Prix for I think the last 2 decades have been around 1,000 pluses. But if you're looking at like how big was the invite on the Worlds, the event itself? Was that like a
64?
64? Okay, 64 sounds.
So yeah, in total there were over 100 people just here in general, but 80 for the LCQ and then 64 for the actual event.
Okay.
Goldfishman asked how freaking widespread are the regionals. Every 3 months, I believe, at least in the US. There's one, I'm trying to remember, because there's the one I went to in Georgia, obviously. I believe there was one in Texas. And I think, I'm trying to remember, I could have sworn there was one in the Midwest at some point, but I cannot remember. That is going to be changing this year in organized play a little bit. There's going to be a lot more regionals in exchange for there being no national event, because they're kind of trying to push up like the quality of the events at the regional level as much as they can. And so for this year at the very least, they're doing away with nationals, partially because also nationals felt a little redundant in a way with how they were being run at the time.
Like if you won a regional, you were already qualified for Worlds, so like what are you doing at nationals? What does it feed into, sort of thing?
Pretty much.
With that, then, are there like, you're talking about like the US events, are there also like, the EU, Oceania, like different areas?
Yeah, there are obviously much less, but there are EU and Oceania events. Yeah, and this year, Canada is actually getting its first ever regional.
Oh, sick.
I know that
it seems much better to like get rid of the redundant events as opposed to like let what happened in in the funniest event in my memory of like tournament history, which is the first Dragon Ball Fighters World Tour, where Kazunoko won like 6 of the 8 opening spots, and they were just like, yeah, that means no one else is in there. You'll all have to fight in one last chance qualifier. So they ran like 5 last chance qualifiers back to back in one day in the cold. There wasn't enough water to fill up the tournament, and then they immediately ran the tournament. So Kazunoko was just sitting up there hanging out, laughing his ass off for like a day, while everyone else was grinding and struggling and burning all their mental energy. And then immediately Kazunoko just swept, and everyone was like, "Yeah, what do you expect?" That was the same event that Apology Man got knocked out of the LCQ by Aquas, I think 4 times in the same day.
good. Very funny.
Nightmare. Yeah. So good to not have that happen.
Yeah.
The older Netrunner circuit had a similar bit where it was like local events that fed to a regional and you got a bye, and then the regionals fed into the nationals and you got a bye, and then nationals fed into worlds and you got a bye, and it's like, what is this all feeding to? Because worlds wasn't an invite event; you just showed up and played.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there wasn't like a real draw for why you would want to be
yeah. But yeah, as for the actual event, I mean, the people at Rochester CCG, which is like the sort of main sellers for this game up in Rochester, New York, they did a great job as usual. Rounds were done on time and all that. Nothing, as far as I know, at least in my experience, nothing went wrong.
So that leads me to a question then.
Yeah.
What does tournament structure for universes look like? Are you playing like a best 2 out of 3 against an opponent you're paired against, and there's like a time for the round? Are you playing just one long game? What's the structure of like the tournament will feel like?
So it is Swiss, as I imagine most tournaments are, question mark.
Yeah, Swiss and then a cut to top is a very common. Which is to say, for those not familiar with what that means, you play a number of rounds until pairing winners against winners. You aren't eliminated after a single elimination or double, but after so many rounds, 7 or 8 or 9, depending on the size, you'll cut to a top cut, which will then become an elimination event.
Yeah. A lot of times Swiss events can be pretty darn exhausting if they have like that many rounds. Especially if you're playing like best of 3 in a particularly like control-y and slow format, playing like 9 rounds of Swiss can just be killer. Yeah, it's a lot.
Like a Magic Grand Prix, for instance, would be like 9 or 10 rounds of Swiss on day 1, and then day 2 is another 5 or 6 rounds, then a cut to top 8. Because you need to play that many rounds to get to 8 players at that point. 64, you're probably playing. How many rounds did that end up being for the 80 or so that were in the last round?
So yeah, we played 7. Best of 3.
Okay, best of 3 on it. Yep.
Notably, I will say the last chance qualifier was a bit of a last-minute thing. Organized play for 2024 has been kind of a mess, because they got a new head of organized play like midway through the year.
Okay.
So originally, Worlds was going to be a completely closed event. Only the people who got invited would be going, and they would be having the World Tournament there. That didn't sit well with people in general. Not only just because no last chance qualifier, but also people couldn't go there and play side events. It was basically
nothing else.
Yes. It was only the Worlds tournament.
So nobody's gonna show for that. There's nothing to do. There's no reason for anybody else to
be
there. It's just okay.
Yeah, it would have only been the people who got invited to Worlds that would have shown up.
Okay.
So that got changed kind of last minute, so they did have the last chance qualifier. And even if it was maybe put together a little quickly and not prepared, I still think it came out pretty well. The only thing I would say about it is, like, it didn't really feel like kind of the end-all be-all, if that makes sense. Like, you could see in the pictures, it was just kind of in an average conference room. Like, there wasn't any branding or anything like that. There wasn't any...
Yeah, I'm thinking about, like, because a invite-only event like that can absolutely, like, I know Magic runs their Worlds event with, like, a small subsection of, like, their best players in the year, but it's a, like, spectacle event, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This looks like a grinder, like, this is...
Yeah. Yeah, and...
This is less like a showcase exhibition and more an SAT, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, part of that is obviously just because we're a much smaller card game.
Yep.
We don't have fucking Hasbro money. So that is one thing, but I am, hoping that the next year, and based on what they have said, obviously the appearance is not really is something that can only be seen, but based on what they've been seeing, I do have high hopes for OP 2025. A lot of the changes they've made have been pretty good, in my opinion. I don't remember them off the top of my head.
Did they have like a live stream or like a feature match sort of thing? I didn't see if that excellent.
They did with commentators that were like rotating on and off over the course of the day. I watched a pretty good amount of it. Yeah.
Hotshot say, who publishes universes? So it used to be, God, was it Fantasy Flight that originally published?
So the universes has gone through a pretty long history of time, because it started as Universal Fighting System, UFS, which was back in 2006.
Yep.
That was that Sabretooth? It started at Sabretooth, then went to Fantasy Flight, then went to
Jasco
after, yes. And then it did a number of morphs from there, going from a Mega Man focus, then it got rebranded to Universes, but for about the first year and a half of its time as Universes, it was effectively the My Hero card game, because there wasn't really a crossover. It was just, that was what sold it, but that got it out the door, and now it's a much larger pool of the Godzilla and other IPs that have bits sets.
Yeah, for context, when it sort of took, because I've been listening to people who have played like for a long time, and pre My Hero Academia, like world events were averaging like 60 people. Like, our regional events were averaging about 60 people, when now we get like around over 100, 120, that kind of thing. So the game was effectively dead in the water until the My Hero branding came in. But yeah, we kind of got off on a tangent. It was
the event you were
yeah. So best of 3, 7 rounds. Notably going forward in regional events, they are actually splitting up Swiss into 2 days. So day 1 you'll actually be playing 4 rounds, and then day 2 you'll be playing 3, 4 rounds. So that greatly increases or decreases the sort of exhaustion you feel playing a lot of cards in one day.
Okay. Yeah. Again, going back to like my own experience of like, if you go to a Magic event, it's a marathon. You're playing rounds and there's not a break.
Yeah.
Like, there have been events that I've played in where like, go to a Netrunner event, you do 2 rounds, then you do lunch, then you do the other 4, something like that.
Yeah.
Splitting it over 2 if you've got the venue long enough, if you've got folks for it, also sounds like a great way to make it not just this big endurance bit.
Yeah. Plus, also it allows actually more time for like side events and stuff, and your players who don't like drop out can actually participate in those side events. But yeah, that covers about what I wanted to say for the event itself, I'd say. I don't know if y'all have any more questions.
I mean, how'd you do?
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
Oh, okay. Word. Sorry, when you said you were done with the event, I was like,
yeah,
playing in it?
No. I was just talking about like how it was ran and that kind of shit.
Yeah, and I will say, someone earlier asked how was the stream coverage, and I imagine that's probably hard for you to answer since you were there. I will say, from my perspective, it was about like a mid-level Smash event where like they were doing pretty clear, good coverage of the game itself. You could watch the game being played, and the commentators were clearly pretty knowledgeable and pretty excited and positive about the game. It wasn't like the highest production in the universe or nothing, but if you were there and interested in the game, you'd get what you came for, and I think it did well on that front.
Nice.
Okay.
Glad to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah. So since we last did our stream about this, a lot has changed.
Hey, return to Universal Fighting System. We got Tekken in there.
Yeah, we got Tekken back. And I'm just gonna get this out of the way now so it doesn't get drudged up a lot. Yes, the person who made Attack on Titan is a bad person. Let's move on.
Great. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Easy.
But yeah, we've gotten many different challenger decks. Yeah, Star Trek lore decks. We got soul leveling. We got 2 sets of Attack on Titan. Yeah, we've gotten a lot of product. Some would say too much fucking product.
Yeah, feel that. Feel that.
So this is our like last like 2024 of releases, or like what's our time frame?
Yeah, so when we did our stream last year, that was when the last My Hero Academia set came out. Which was terribly named Girl Power because it was focused on female characters. That came out, and this has been what's come out ever since. So yeah, Godzilla, Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, Challenger deck, Star Trek, and Soul Leveling. I don't know if there's an equivalent to the quote-unquote Challenger decks in like Magic and such. Effectively, they are exclusive precons. Like they're precon decks, but you can only get those cards in those decks.
Okay. So like, but you know what you're getting. Like, there's no randomness involved in purchasing the deck. So yeah, the closest I can think of would be like over the last couple of years, Magic's been dipping its toe into this. So the Warhammer 40K /Fallout /Doctor Who decks also work that way, where you would buy a deck, it has 100 cards, you know what they all are.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, not all of these have, especially in the challenger decks, not all of them have hit, like, competitive success, but, there's 2 in here which, have, for certain, and we'll get into that. But, on that note, relating to the last time we did a card, valuation stream, I showed you this guy.
Yeah, and Endeavor Hyperspeed, who wants to mill his deck, and then once you've milled your deck once, you're in aggro town. You're in the beat town.
Yeah, so your attack mill 4, your attacks get +2 speed. If you have cycled this game, it gets +3 damage, and once per game, you can pick an attack up from your removed from game pile. What I want to turn to you two and ask is this. Do you think this character is still the top dog in our metagame, which has gone much faster?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're asking us to, how is this still relevant in a power crept universe? How long has it been?
Oh god, it's been at least a year, I think. I'm trying to remember when we actually did that stream.
I have to ask the first obvious question. This dude's still legal?
Yes, he's still legal.
Okay, we didn't, like, we're not hitting with, like, power level errata or a bop of a hammer on a deck that's too consistent. Okay. I'm gonna go with the amount of
my biggest concern here is that, like, this game is, like, pretty color locked, right? Like, it's kind of got, like, a commandery vibe where whatever your top dog is, most of your other cards have to be, like, inside that, like, color identity, or, like, like fire, life, or whatever those the symbols
bottom
are.
left there.
Yeah, so, like, my concern is that if this guy was really goosed, a year ago, a way they might have addressed that is by juicing the other spaces, and, like, juicing the other parts of the wedge. I'm gonna say he can still top 64, but probably won't top 1.
I'm gonna go with, like, this dude ain't here. I'm gonna go with, you showed us, like, 7 products, and if we're a game that isn't doing, like, a rotation style beat for our cards, we're gonna be continuing to juice things, and that means Endeavor's not showing up current because now Void is top dog or something.
So UVS does do rotation. It does it once a year. In fact,
Endeavor hasn't. Okay.
Endeavor has not rotated now. No.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with my gun still. I'm gonna go with, we ain't gonna be talking about Endeavor past this slide.
So yeah, Endeavor's kind of fallen off the face of the planet.
Okay.
He's just so 2 reasons, I would say, for why Endeavor has kind of fallen off. One is the game has gone much faster. So him, even with a slim 60, that cycling is actually kind of hard. Before your opponent just kills you. 2 is he would actually be a lot more relevant if he gave damage first. Because there's a lot more damage reduction in the game now than there was when he first started.
They printed stuff that answers him a little better.
Okay, that makes more sense. If you're able to damage reduce, then, like, speed is less relevant because you don't need to block. Whereas if you're relying on damage reduction, you're just counteracting the plus. Okay.
Yeah, speed doesn't matter if you're taking 0 damage. And on that note, there was another top dog that y'all picked out from last stream. Being Younger Toguro. And, is he still relevant?
We got.
I feel like this would be like a big trap to like get.
You just because like you just said the relevancy bit is the damage, and then you showed us this, and I'm gonna go with my guess is that there's very little that has been printed in like if Endeavor's not holding, I don't think anything from that era is holding its weight. We're pushed too far.
I'm willing to bet that in a game of like where cards that are like bombs are what, like $5 or $10 for like alternate art, maybe something like that. But what are Universe's prices like right now?
One of the best cards in the game is $60.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But like in general, like a strong card is what, like $5-10?
10 to 15.
Okay. I bet this motherfucker is 15 cents. That's what I think.
Well,
I bet this shithead I bet this dude is bulk. That's what I think.
So I will say this: characters in general are considered bulk because you get one in every pack.
Okay.
It's never the characters who are a chase card. Okay.
Yeah, it's only like the flashy like chrome rares and all
the
that
ability
kind of
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
That gets like chased in like characters. But yeah, characters you get one in every pack. So if you open a box, you get every character.
Okay. Then I would like to revise my guess. I think this dude's 5 cents.
That's good. Younger Taguro ain't hitting 100% anytime soon. I like, especially going back to like what you said about like if the game has gotten faster, that second ability has gotten worse.
This dude ain't any better at surviving than Endeavor is, like for sure.
So, I will fully admit this one was a little bit of a trap.
Yeah.
Because he actually got nerfed. He got errated. Shortly after...
I asked on the first, but not on the second.
Yeah, shortly after we did that stream, he like ran through a bunch of events. So they nerfed him so that bottom enhance, you now have to commit a foundation to get the damage.
Oh, so even worse.
There's a cost now. It's not just always on or like
you have to blow your foundation curve.
Yeah. So he hasn't really been seen since that nerf in general. People get weird about nerf cards even if they are still good, but it's hard to say with younger Toguro because no one fucking plays him anymore. So ever since the nerf.
Okay, so who can say he got thrown down and he just fell off the face of the planet?
Yeah.
Okay.
But now, as for what I was originally going to play, for this event, was this little bastard. Who
foundations, recursion on attacks. Oh, okay. See.
So yeah, after you check an asset, you add basically an attack from your discard pile to your hand, and whenever you commit an asset, it gets +2 or -1 damage. So, Ty already kind of knows, so I won't ask him. But, Slyo, on face, what do you think of this character?
Well, from memory, you planned on playing this character, and then, a ban list came down or something?
Okay, I wasn't...
You were not allowed to play this.
So, it was either like errated into the toilet or banned, right?
Something. I don't remember the full details, but I do remember you saying, like, kind of having a bit of a, panic. My deck got banned. What the hell?
So he didn't get banned, but he did get nerfed into the toilet. That top response, after you check an asset, add 1 attack with a check value of 3 from your discard pile to your hand, that became a commit cost. You commit your character to use it. Which means you can't use that bond response.
That turns off your response. Oh.
Yeah, you can still use
your card's not functioning anymore. Okay.
Yeah, you can still use the top effect. When you commit cards to pass a check, you may commit one asset. Because that's a quote-unquote static, and those only get turned off if your character is sealed. But yeah, that commit cost nuked him off the face of the planet. Which,
yeah, this is a card that's like a very neat little circle that like does a thing, does a thing, does a thing, does a thing, and they all feed into each other really nicely. So having there just be a hard break that happens where you now don't get to do the full circle every turn, you only get to do like 2/3 of it. Disastrous. That especially if the game's as fast as you're saying, disastrous loss of value.
Looking at this, I can easily see the like, oh, okay, I have so that first thing that says a check value of 3, like that's like attacks already fall into that like value pretty cleanly, because like just from my memory of attacks, you usually have like a 3 is close to your max on there. That's like a higher check. But like the more point being is that you can like keep recurring one really useful move every turn if there's something that like, oh, yeah. I just you know what, you're gonna wake up and I'm gonna hit you with Pierce, and then you're gonna wake up and then JP's continuing to put you in the corner every turn, like.
Yeah, noticeably too, that top response could be done on your opponent's turn too.
I see.
So gave you an extra foundation functionally on their turn.
Well, not just that. I remember you talking about this when we talked the first time, in that card draw was like a super valuable thing in this game, right?
Yep.
And so that first ability, that response once per turn that says after you check an asset, add an attack back. That says draw your best.
Draw your most useful spell.
Attack. Yeah. That does it every turn.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Mimic was one of those characters that kind of was only going to get stronger the more stuff was printed, because assets not really a rare like card type. So the more assets that get printed, the more powerful he gets. And it kind of came to a head with the last set of regionals, where he topped, if not won, like every single event.
I see.
So yeah, he just kind of became too much, so they brought down the nerf hammer on him. And yeah, these were a few of the cards that went into a good Mimic deck.
Alright, we've got. I'm sorry, that Titan one sure has a hell of a check.
Yeah, it's a 12 difficulty attack.
When this attack resolves, Armageddon, huh?
Yep. Which doesn't fucking matter for Mimic.
I was gonna say, because that says foundations, not assets. So you're the dude who cast Armageddon with 3 Moxes, 2 Signets in play, and you're like, yeah, whatever. Blow up all the lands. It's still got 5 mana. Like,
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
That's
yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Notably, the Mimic is the only character that attack saw any play in. Because
historically people despise resource destruction and land destruction. Like, land destruction is, so there's like a lot of things in Magic where they're like kind of iffy on reprinting certain things or touching certain mechanics, and the one that they like have made such a clean break from is like strong land removal can never exist again.
Yeah, like there's 2 bits in specific with it. A, if you're gonna do it, end the game immediately after you do it. Like, you don't do it to put everyone to 0. You do it to put your opponent to 0 and you to 6, right? Second, like just recently in Magic, we had a kind of like some more information coming down about like Commander as a format where they're like trying to break it into like power bands, and like what defines a 2 deck versus a 4. Almost every single one of those little power bands has a note about "Don't bring Armageddon to the table, you jerk." Like just don't do it. Like unless you're on the top tables where everything goes, don't do it.
And like 1v1, it's like a little brutal, but also in 1v1, there's a lot of spells that are just like you kind of win if this resolves, or if your opponent doesn't have a good way to answer this, they just explode. And that's fine because you just get hit by that and you just scoop it up. But in a 4-player game in particular, where you now are the arch enemy and you have to deal with 3 other people trying to pull up against you, everyone wants to fight the whole time, and it's just a miserable slog. Yeah.
Yeah, another one of the cards that made Mimic probably a bit too much was Trigger. I don't know how readable that is, but after you make a check to play card, that check gets +1, playable while committed. Only playable by Mimic. But
so you have a +1 at all times. Okay.
More considering you could put 4 of these in your stage at once.
That's not unique.
Nope.
Okay, so I see how you get to that 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Yu-Gi-Oh, right, has once per named card. It would be you get 1 activation of the card named Trigger per turn, as opposed to this where it's just yeah, dog, if you got 4 of them, go hot ham and cheese.
Yeah. And then you also have Trigger Transformation, which just allows you to build one if you have momentum. And trust me, on Mimic, on Chaos, you're going to have momentum, and we're going to see why in a little bit.
Oh, you have a tutor for it that's also tutorable with your response. I see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, as much as it was a bit of an annoyance after buying the stuff for him, which wasn't that expensive because Mimic wasn't that expensive to build, it was certainly annoying, but probably deserved. But yeah, so let's talk about who I did pick up instead, which was this obscure side character from 4 episodes of My Hero Academia.
Class B pony. Okay, we've got 7 card hand, enhance, discard 2 cards to 2 counters and draw, so -2 +1, and then you have the counters to very flexible effects.
Yeah. How many times you're only allowed to use enhance once per
attack.
Once per attack, and you only get 1 combat phase per turn, right?
So you play multiple attacks in 1 turn.
Oh, right. Attacks are like a type of card. Right.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That just little bit of a linguistic barrier between games.
Sure, yeah. But yeah, basically, yeah, it's Universes is what is referred to as a quote-unquote creatureless game, because your character is the one doing all the attacks, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you have here on Pony is she has build up this secondary resource by cycling through your deck cycling 2 for 1, so getting through your deck a little faster and going down on cards, but also getting use out of cards you might not be able to play for a lot of different small bits. You've got a speed up or down, you've got a zone change, which is the high-low mid, and you've got clear 1 card, which is whenever you play a card, it has progressively higher difficulty of +1, +2, etc. The clear would let you get your first attack you played out of there, so your next cards aren't at a +2, +3, +4.
Correct.
They're at 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. This seems like a card that you pay a little bit of card disadvantage to become just nightmarish to engage with in combat.
Mm-hmm. Also, to answer Kel Fishman's question, is the community happy with this level of Rata and Ruse control? So people actually want UVS games to go a lot farther than they have been.
Okay, I was going to ask the same question, because errata is absolutely one of those very tough subjects. You know, a card not doing what it says on the card is something that you kind of have to both commit with and also have resources for people to be able to know that something's changed. Right?
Yeah, that's why generally when there is an errata, it's like not changing the entire like text in a way. It's usually adding like a cost or something to it, like we saw with younger Toguro. It got turned into a commit cost for his damage pump rather than it just being free. There was a character who got hit recently. Actually, there's another character we'll talk about later on. There was a character called Recovery Girl, who when she got hit, she could once per turn actually I don't even think it was once per turn, but when she got hit, she could build in a foundation from her discard pile. And that got changed to it gets built in committed instead. So it's usually not like to reference a particular notorious one. It's not like Lorcana where they changed literally the entire fucking effect.
I was thinking of Hearthstone about a decade ago, where Warsong Commander went from your units have charge to units you have with charge get +1 attack or something like that.
Yep.
Was Hearthstone a decade ago?
Yeah, we're all in this boat to learn. So Pony is not quite the best deck in format, but it's very close to it.
Flexibility is a huge thing, and like there's two things about Pony that strike me as strong as a card. Number one is that 7 hand size combined with the like enhanced discard, meaning you can afford to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, just having like a pile of like, look, find the effect that saves your life, right?
Yeah, so there is one thing that you mentioned that I will disagree with, and that is talking about how Pony has to go disadvantage on cards user effect. That is incorrect.
Okay, so you're using like cycling style effects where you still get value out of the cards you discard.
Yeah. All these cards except for Lethal Slash, you remove them from the game, except for the case of any needs necessary, but yeah, you just draw an extra card when you discard these cards.
Oh, okay. So there are a number of cards that just have it, that make that. I see. You could go heavy in on having discard 2, draw 1, and then +2, and so you're actually cycling much faster.
Yeah.
Okay, so strong. Like the support not only is like 7 hand cycling, a lot of effects. We also have strong support.
Yeah. Lethal Slash in particular, because it removes itself from play after it resolves, you can clear your first attack and just have a fresh progression. And, I'll say it right now, this character is fucking brain dead.
I have to assume Pony is quite consistent. Again, 7 card hand size, cycling this fast, you're probably seeing your game plan very quickly.
Mm-hmm. This character is solitaire, effectively. And I feel there were a couple opponents where the salt was real with this character. I could tell it just by the way they interacted with me after the match, and I'll get into one of them, but yeah.
Hell yeah, that's how you know your character's pretty good. Keep it up.
You know what they say, play a tiered.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I picked the top tier for a reason.
Especially like you had what, like a week or 2 to swap over?
I had about 3 weeks, yeah.
Okay, so that's still like that 3 weeks ain't like I'm going to go ahead and go into the kitchen and I'm going to build the most like vile, powerful. No, like you take it off the shelf and you're playing top tier.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And if it's like, especially if it's your first big event like this where you're playing a lot of rounds of Swiss in person back to back, having a slightly more straightforward to pilot deck is going to be like really nice.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah.
like, damn, my character got nerfed. Let's pick up Asuna. Like, maybe not. Cubes are cool, but like,
But yeah, I went through a couple revisions on this deck before the event, just through playtesting and all that. But yeah, as for the event itself, let's get into what I played and all that. So round one, I went up against this fucking dude. Bertolt Hoover, who was the boogeyman of the format when he first got revealed.
okay, very low hand size compared, 5 comparatively. We're starting on the left hand side here. Draw 2, discard 2. If they're the same type, there's more of that damage reduction you talked about, so plus or minus 2. At end phase, transform, and then wildfire assault, blow up all foundation. Everyone goes down to 3 foundations if somebody's at 9. Okay. So if you play too heavily, all right. And then attacks get +2 damage. You can remove them after they resolve. After you played attack, draw 1 card. Okay, so you can just go ham.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I see. All right, I can see the pieces that make Berholt here, like a bit of a boogeyman. And again, as we talked about not 5 minutes ago about mass land destruction, right?
Yeah.
That always is gonna like raise eyebrows.
Yeah. Cutting your opponent off from the ability to play the game is quite strong.
But yeah, what would you say y'all's final evaluations on this character is correct? Or would be?
I mean, it's seeing as you ran into them at a event like this, I would assume like pretty solid at the very least.
You'd be surprised at what people played.
I think the first side is like, I think this card's harder to work with than it reads because it has a built-in visible way to like fight it, right? Like you can't flip Berholt unless you get 9 foundations, right? Unless a player has 9.
A player, yeah, he can also build himself to 9.
Right, but like you can not play your 9th and try not to flip that if you don't want Berholt to flip into draw. I think this is a little bit more of a boogeyman than an actual competitor. I think it's like one of those like reads really strong, but has like once you know what you're looking at, it's a little easier to counterplay.
I think my fear is the front side more than anything. Draw 2, discard 2. If you have cards that are making you go +1 on discard and getting value,
that doesn't have a tap on there, does it? That's
Nope.
every attack.
That's every attack.
That's every attack.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that's what made me scared is the fact that that's faithless looting, right? Draw 2, discard 2.
We also did just show a ton of cards that draw on discard in the last slide.
That's my fear with this
Okay,
is the
all
the 5 hand size might be a little bit of a pain in the ass for like flexibility and stuff, but if you're just looping cards, that seems like a nightmare to deal with. Like even if you never hit backside.
So this was a character who actually also got nerfed in the same errata list as Mimic and Recovery
Word.
Girl.
Okay.
Cool.
That make after the that enhanced showing off as multi. That's like okay. What we get changed on this?
So he doesn't lower damage anymore.
No defense.
And a player has to be at 11 foundations instead of 9.
Okay. And I'm going to assume that like you ran into the one person on the deck then.
We'll get into that.
All right.
So yeah, they kind of made him a more aggro five hand size aggro character than the incredibly defensive. I'm going to build my deck in such a way that I'm going to get the 9 foundations on like turn 3, and then nuke you and just blow you
hyper
up.
defensive ramp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, the fact that enhance isn't a once per is all of a sudden changes it from like.
Yeah. Plus, not only there, I haven't shown them here, but not only are there cards that draw when they're discarded, there are also cards that give plus or minus damage when discarded.
Oh, okay. So you get it's just functionally a different way to play cards, and you're getting bonus value for doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the counterplay was way less there because they could just minus damage on all your minusing as they're finding all their high power things.
Yeah, you would frequently see like Bertolt minus 6 damage to an attack.
What are the rules for running through your deck again? It's like when you cycle, it's like what, remove 10 and shuffle back?
Top 10 cards of your deck.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only lose the game by deck out if you can no longer cycle. However, that being said, I did win 2-1.
Hey.
I'll be honest, I don't really remember what they were playing beyond just Bertolt. Notably, they didn't transform in any of the games. Which shows that nerf was pretty significant. Yeah, my board never got blown up. A lot of it just kind of came down to me running through what defensive options they had and burning them down for lethal with the million of attacks I play per turn. So yeah, I was feeling pretty good about that, especially because the person I played was actually a part of a professional team. He was part of Let's Talk UVS. Nice guy, very hard to hear him sometimes. He talked very quietly, and the room was very loud.
A big, like, just, as you said, like 80 people in that conference room.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, second round, I played against Levi Ackerman.
Alright. Levi, what do you got for us? +1 speed, +1 damage on typed things. Add a weapon card. Well, as we see, it's an attack.
Card pool is your deck?
Card pool
It's
is
in
your
play, right?
your
Like,
attack string.
Oh, your attack string. Okay, right. That's where the pool is. Okay. Is that a symbol for
Commit
a foundation? Okay.
No, commit
Or
your
commit
character.
discard.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
so that is a once per.
Yeah, it's a
once
once
per
per
turn.
turn. As of current, I'm pretty sure there's no way to ready your character outside of like very niche scenarios. Like I think a Mothra attack has like giant enhance, and it says if this attack deals damage, ready your character or something like that.
Okay. Levi here strikes me as incredibly niche. If there are some powerful weapon cards that you want to like reuse, that's great. Like replay an attack twice, but like compared to almost every character you've shown, doesn't like strike me that much.
The +1 speed and +1 damage concerns me a little bit, just if they're like really quickly playing a bunch of cantrippy things where like they get that +1/+1 ends up being like really relevant and they just like cycle through their deck twice and kill you before you have a chance to respond. That being said, I think that really comes down to like what the color support is for what Levi's in, because these look like colors that haven't shown up on too many cards. So this might be like a very strange, strong, bespoke pool that only a few cards can access.
So Death, I will say Death, the skull icon obviously is a pretty... I would say Death is probably the second strongest symbol in the game currently.
Okay.
Air is fairly non-existent.
Okay. So then it really is like ride or die on how good those synergies are.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, I think I want to say we're adding up to like synergies that put you at like fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there is like something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pretty good charge and weapon attacks, but Levi...
But versus Faithless Looting, every
Right?
turn,
Every attack?
discard to
Do you
draw.
know how long
every
it takes for Levi to get set up? It's 1,000,000 years.
As opposed to, I'm attacking Faithless Looting for value. Okay, I'm attacking Faithless. Buddy, for reference, since these words might mean less to you, Faithless Looting is a card in Magic the Gathering that costs 1 red and is discard 2 cards, or draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, or draw 2, discard 2. It was banned for a really long time. In Modern, which is one of the higher power formats of Magic, like top 3 power formats generally.
Yeah. Because it also had play it from the graveyard for 3.
Oh.
And so you could just
continuously. We have a foundation called Latent Skill, which is discard 2, draw 2, or flip discard 2, draw 2.
Okay, a one shot, like.
Notably, however, discarding first and then drawing 2 is much more impactful than draw 2, discard 2.
Yep,
yeah, that's part of Faithless Looting.
Faithless Looting has the draw for, but yeah, because like on Berholt before, not only were you draw 2 discard on every one of your attacks, you can enhance on opponents too. And it's just like, yeah, all right. Like your opponent takes an action, Faithless Looting. Your opponent blinks, Faithless Looting. Like. Whereas Levi here hasn't seen it. Yeah.
Commits to pick up a weapon.
Commit for a tutor is, or commit to like pull back one of the things in the pool is like really rough.
Yeah, so Levi is definitely a character who has seen basically no play since AOT 1 released. So yeah, you were pretty spot on in that he's a pretty mid character. That being said, I did lose 1 too. Honestly, my opponent just played defense really well on my attack strings, and I greatly underestimated attacks like these. And it's kind of what ended up killing me in the end. Both kind of... Go ahead.
I was gonna say that first one seems like a card you do want to keep cycling.
Yeah. Yeah. So a character that I probably shouldn't have lost to, but I did anyway. It happens. What was funny though is this is one person who, throughout the entire event, I kept overhearing complaining about fucking Pony. Because apparently after me, they went on to, like, fight, like, 2 or 3 other ponies. And they got turn 2'd by all of them.
Oh, that's the speed of the format, huh?
Oh, turn 2. Okay,
turn 2,
crazy. Huh? Good to know. Okay, yeah, that changes a lot of my numbers in my head. Yeah.
Yeah. It is mostly just Pony doing the turn 2ing. Just because of how fast she has to pluck her shit, but round 3.
Hey, bud.
Play against the big fucking lizard. The big fucking lizard.
Yes, sir.
Hello. So big Godzilla here. We got 34 health. We got 6 hand size. Attacks with 5 or higher difficulty printed get +3 damage. Okay, like that.
That's a fun build around. That's probably not too hard to set up.
Yeah. Spend 1 momentum. Your next check gets a +2. Okay, so you can spend momentum to chain things easier, and then first, that's got to be your like
first
pot
thing
of
you
extrav,
do,
like you got to do it
turn.
first.
Yeah.
Once per game, commit, discard 4 cards. Geddon, okay. Hey, welcome back, Armageddon. How you doing? Okay.
And only 10 foundations for the full field. So
combined.
Like, yeah, this is a way easier bar to clear than 11 on one side.
Okay. That's interesting because the bit there, you do have to pay a pretty hefty cost on the blowing up foundations, but this reads pretty well. We're missing the like card consistency of some of the more powerful bits we've seen, but I like the rest of this reads pretty well, like in the sense of if you get going, you kind of roll over your opponent.
You would want like as many difficulty 5 or greater like attacks that can like cycle and pull through your deck, because you're just really trying to get some kind of card advantage. But you don't have the like free faithless looting every turn.
Yeah, but you do have like hefty damage.
Yeah, so Godzilla is definitely in contention for one of the strongest decks in the format. The difficulty 5 or greater gets +3 damage is massive. There are also cards that support Godzilla very well, which I will show in a second. And I did lose one too.
Godzilla smashing around.
Yeah, these 2 cards are some of Godzilla's strongest tools.
Printed difficulty 5.
Printed difficulty.
Okay. So walk the dog there, our good buddy from the Dark Tournament, goes below 5, but it still counts. And then also draw to make up for that missing piece we mentioned earlier. Oh, yeah. And that has stun. Oh, and that has powerful 3. That card gains more text the more I keep reading this. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, feeling that like, oh, and another, and another, and another. And these all seem good. Like, the only problem is, like, they're, like, lows. Is that, like, not too... I guess there's a lot of ways to, like, move attacks around, it seems like.
Low is actually, like, you're generally gonna have less low blocks than mid and high.
Nobody crouches. No one crouches.
just like real life, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I will say, I mentioned earlier that, like, the mental image of Godzilla spamming spinning pile drivers at you, or, like, I don't know, pot bustering you was a fun one. But I actually like the idea of Godzilla doing a big yo-yo.
Doing a sick yo-yo tricks? Yeah.
Just giant Godzilla sick yo-yo tricks? Like, okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, so last slide I said that death is probably like the second best symbol in the game. Chaos is probably the best.
pink one?
Yeah, Chaos. Yeah. Chaos is what I would have ran Mimic on. Chaos just has so much shit right now. It's pretty much the best symbol in the format.
That's hilarious. Like, again, someone who played UFS 20 years ago or whatever, Chaos, Void, and Death were the killers in the early format.
I will say this match in particular was a little unfortunate because I did on the game 3 did get my opponent down the 1 and couldn't follow up. And of course they just killed me on the crackback, so.
Damn. Each of these have been close though. All 3 have been third match.
Mm-hmm.
No clean sweep.
That is a consistent theme with all my games that day. But yeah, round 4. I
Welcome back.
played against another Bertolt. So yeah, I'm not gonna have you run through this character again. I am gonna show you attacks that I do remember, or cards that I do remember this person playing. That being Besiege, and I'm with you.
Okay, this attack can only be blocked by cards with the printed block. Okay, you can only block it with the worst blocks ever printed. Okay.
Yep.
What's Deadlock Blitz?
So Blitz is a new keyword that was added in AOT. Blitz is effectively, it's an enhance that you play after the attack is played. Like, it goes automatic.
Okay, then Deadlock is right down there. It's like if they're hyper ramped, you get
if they're at 10 or more. Or 11 or more, sorry.
Okay, and then I'm with you as the other card you mentioned as like a discard.
That lets you get damage modifications,
Yes.
including negative, which seems really, really mean. But it makes sense if you can play enough defense to like get to the late game when people have more foundations. Like that's the goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're trying to do the explosion where you blow up the board. So
Yeah, one thing I did forget to mention when we talked about Bert last time was that if the discard card's the same type, this attack gets +2 or -2 damage. When that got changed to remove the -2, it still kept this attack. So
oh no! So if you're faithless looting on your opponent's attacks, you have to discard different types to not get blasted.
Yes. So it does introduce a bit more thought into the character on your opponent's
I was gonna
turn.
say I kind of love that actually. Like it,
I'm glad that it's still a choice, right? Like it's not like in the sense that it's not like it always ends up +2, but like oh boy, that's funny.
So yeah, you did have times where people in the match against me where he would discard 2 different ones, but discard and I'm with you, so it still gets that -2. Or sometimes he would discard 2 of the same, but discard and I'm with you, so it negatives out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not gonna have you evaluate these ones unless you want to. Besiege is... Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, it seems good. Like, it seems like a strong attack. It seems like a good card for the archetype. But if he was already nerfed pretty aggressively in the 11 foundation wall, it was like too hard to get over. I don't think these are gonna like push it particularly over the edge into Crazy Town.
Yeah, I will say, Besiege is like... If your character has a fire symbol and you have a way to pump damage onto it, it's extremely good.
Right, because that block bit there, like on all visible cards, like so, like nothing we've seen in maybe the last 3 slides can block this.
Yeah, it's very hard to block the siege, and when that card, and obviously it only has 4 damage on it, but when you pump that damage, it becomes a lot scarier. That being said, once again, I won 2-1.
Yeah.
I played 2 Bertolts and I won against both of them. Second game where my opponent did win, though, he did play 3 Besieges against me. And that was very difficult to handle, and basically
Bertolt
the
puts you
reason
in the corner.
why. Yeah. But yeah, not much to say about Bertolt. Honestly, this second match was a lot harder than the first one. The person just kind of played better defense than the first player did. But yeah. So, currently, altogether, I am 2-2. Going into round 5 against Toga here.
So 2-2 in a 7-round Swiss, you're like technically live if you win out on breakers at this point. Not like certain, maybe not even possible based on the breakers, but still alive. Toga here.
This card seems insane. This card seems absolutely wild to me based on quite a few factors here. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, so we've got tap down your opponent's foundations on attack. We've got you want to be playing out an attack every turn because your first attack gets huge buff. And free momentum. That's our 3 bids.
And also in chaos and in death. 6 card hand size. The thing that pushes me over the edge on this for sure is the chaos and death, based on the fact that you've said like those are really primo right now and seem to have the most like enabling attacks. I don't know if the rest of the card is like push it over the top nutty. Like it doesn't seem like it has like quite the straightforward loop as some of the other ones do. But the support seems mad good.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what our loop is here. I guess we're playing. My thought is that either we're playing like a longer game where we want to throw 1 attack every turn with that big buff, or we want to spam knife 4 times to tap our opponent out, right? Like on that.
Yeah.
After you play a weapon attack,
or use cards that like give you momentum that then let you, or like spend momentum in exchange for really strong like draw replacement effects, so that you can be like dealing damage, spending momentum to draw more cards to do more damage to get momentum and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So where are you at, Slyo?
I'm gonna go a little above Levi, but I'm not. I'm not sold on the text I'm reading.
Yeah,
I'm sold. I'm sold with what you're saying about the chaos and death. I'm just not sold on like what I'm seeing here, because especially like more specifically, you called Pony turn 2. If we're in a turn 2 format, pumping your first attack every turn is a long-term plan, not a short-term plan, and I'm worried about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that I'm gonna say like above where we had Levi, but like solidly mid.
So this is a character who used to be a really big threat. She still kind of is. I think she topped Nats. I'd have to double check, but
okay, so like has felt the curse of time.
A little bit. She hasn't gotten like a ton of good weapons recently, which has hurt her a little bit. However, she is a very strong aggro character, being able to just turn down your opponent's shit every time you play an attack. And being able to just grab a free momentum is actually pretty relevant, because there's a few attacks that can do stuff from your momentum. That being said, this match did come down to basically which one of us can turn to each other first.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, especially if you lock your opponent out of plays by just stabbing them in the mouth 6 times.
Yeah. These seeing both of these as cards that fit into that last ability as a payoff also.
Yeah, if they're added to your momentum, you just get bonus.
Mm-hmm. Deception Dagger in particular is a bastard to block because of how fast it can get, because, automatically you're giving it +3/+2. So at base, that's a 5 mid for 7. Then they remove an attack card from your discard pile, which then increases its speed more. And it was also really nasty against me, because going back to this slide, you might notice one of my cards has a particular bad block modifier.
Oh, 5, huh?
That's an additional +5 speed. But yeah, this was very much
also, remove one card in their discard pile. Is that like exile? Is that like remove it from the game?
Yeah.
Oh, That's actually
Oh,
quite neat.
because yeah, in a looping effect, like a fast looping decks like this, if you can stall each other out at all, I imagine being able to like turn off your opponent's win condition is a nice little side effect. Is probably pretty good in some matchups.
Yeah, if somebody is cycling and you snipe a couple of their best cards before they get them out.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
okay, so it sounds like you had a round that was the fastest aggro of yesterday versus the fastest aggro of today.
Yeah,
Like,
kinda. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, this is the person that I was talking about that was mad salty about playing Pony. Usually against the people I played, we usually had, a conversation after we finished up our matches.
Yeah.
Because, that's normal human being playing card games and you're being nice, especially in a smaller community like this where a lot of people
Yeah.
know each other. This person, after our match finished, he didn't say a word to me, he walked away.
Yeah, I can say as someone who goes to a lot of fighting game events that are like roughly 100 or so people. Oh yeah, there's gonna be like one or two. Oh yeah, and you might get matched up against that one or two, and just don't take it personally. They just aren't good at handling losses. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just amusing to me. But yeah, 3-2 at the moment. So I was feeling pretty good about that. Whoops. Whoops, I didn't mean the...
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, dang.
Nice,
Nice.
sick.
Nice.
Congrats.
I messed up
Four-
the ordering on
4-2
that.
gaming.
Oh well.
So commit on any enhance to add one card with difficulty 1 from your stage to your momentum. Draw one card. If the card you added to momentum was an asset, draw 2 cards instead. I mean that is once per turn.
So that is
Draw 2.
like sack a land or effectively sack a foundation, draw a card, gain a momentum.
Yeah, and I will say, because obviously Sasha was published, so they're going to print support for her. There are 2 assets in AOT, which are 1-diff assets. That one of which called Soup. You play it, it instantly builds down to your stage.
You got a soup and you got a potato that are tenacious, discard a card, attack gets plus X speed or plus X damage, X equals momentum. Okay. So
you still get to attack after using the ability. You get to use the ability once per turn and still attack afterwards. Yeah.
There is, in fact, a potato asset. Yes, blackjack attack.
And yeah, there. So in chaos, but what's that other arc? What's that other?
That's
symbol?
life.
How is life right now?
Life has
Mid.
one character that's really strong.
Okay, not this one then.
yeah,
Well, okay, I should clarify. Life has one character who's played on Life that's very strong.
Okay, because
okay.
you're probably playing on
You're playing
Chaos.
Sasha on Chaos, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we have I like seeing a draw effect. I like seeing a momentum builder, and like we have a payoff for building that up. It seems like a bit of an expensive build because you have to like play a foundation, eat the foundation, hot draw, eat the cards, and kind of moving from there. But like, if you get going, like being able to hand off that like plus X speed or plus X damage is like a scaling game ender, right?
Yeah. And I will say there is a card that I will be showing soon that does greatly enhance this this game plan.
Hmm.
But yeah, as for Sasha herself, she's had some results, but nothing like particularly big. I know people were actually really like big on this character when she was first revealed. But she hasn't really shown like the results for it.
It feels like if they print more support for the ability, so that like you have more consistent things to pull from the difficulty 1 assets or whatever it is, that'll probably help.
Yeah, or just momentum generating stuff and momentum matters stuff in general. But so I'll be honest, I don't remember what this guy was playing. I was too distracted by how British he was. Then round 7, big fucking lizard's back.
Return of Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
I'm look, when I see Godzilla, I'm pretty happy.
So yeah, instead of having you review Godzilla, I'm gonna show you this card.
All right, we got cannot be reduced, blueprinted.
Oh man, and add the top card of your deck to your momentum
immediately
with the card that loves momentum.
Right, spend your momentum to keep moving. Like you play this, put the momentum, enhance, spend the momentum. You get your next attack. You can't heavy defend here. Yeah, all right.
So yeah, let me tell you, as a 22 health character who cannot reduce this attack speed because it says it's 6, this attack is mad hard to fucking block.
I was gonna say, this is getting through, huh?
This is chunking me for 9 at best.
Godzilla's like jab is just so good. It's so fast. You wouldn't expect Godzilla to have the 3-frame jab, but Godzilla just shows up with a 3-frame jab. Don't know what to say.
Sometimes you get that main character privilege, and that's just how it is. Yeah.
Yup. What can you do?
Also, 34 health is so much health to chunk through on a 6-hander.
That's a whole third over yours.
Yeah, because you're at what, like 24?
22.
26? 22, great, even less.
That's a awesome. Full, that's like 35%.
Yeah, 50% more health is a son of a gun in just about any game, really.
like you show up and then Sentinel shows up with an extra health bar, and you're like, damn, okay. Well.
But yeah, I did lose this one too. Which, hey, I did manage to take a game off, but again, this was another match. I got him down to single-digit health. Couldn't clutch it out the win. So yeah.
For what it's worth, if your deck is that fast, that's probably how a lot of games are going to go, right? Is like you're going to get close and then they turn the corner.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because generally speaking, if I get a person down that much, if they don't kill me on the backswing, something is wrong with their deck.
Okay, question about the Godzilla games.
Yeah.
Did either of the Godzillas blow up all foundations?
Nope.
Okay. That was they weren't here for that. They were here for the big damage and the big health.
Yeah, honestly, Godzilla's kind of rarely blow up the board.
Yeah. One of the things reading Godzilla here, like Godzilla has an Armageddon, but the cost for Armageddon is your first action, so you can't do anything before it. Discard 2/3 of your hand, so you have no follow-up, and then your opponent takes their turn. Right? Like, you get to play 2 cards and then pass. So, like...
Yeah, I mean, granted, your opponent does then have to spend time rebuilding their own stage, but...
But they kind of get first dibs at it. Like, like, you got to be in a good position. Like, you got to be in the right position for it, I guess.
Yes. A pretty common evaluation tool for symmetrical effects like that is who gets to go first afterwards. And a lot of them, like if it's like something that's slow and costs a lot, the answer is your opponent. And that means it's probably bad unless like their deck is built to be like, play a bunch of little tiny guys and win real fast, whereas yours is like get to the later game and like really just bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb. So
yeah, generally when Godzillas do blow up the board, it's against really heavy control decks.
Makes sense. You
That
resolve the Armageddon against the control player, yeah.
Yeah, and you blow the decks that go to like 15 plus foundations. Yeah, generally that's when you'll see Godzilla blow up the board, but yeah, so that was my LCQ run, ended 4-3, which, hey, honestly, that is both positive and better than what I did in Georgia, which was 3-5.
As I said, like 5-2 is, if we're cutting the top 8 with that many players with a 5-2 record, you're probably on the bubble with that. Like you're probably close to, like, I would guess mathematically, like depending on breakers, between 7 and 11.
Yeah, if
I've run a bunch of events, so I've got like the math just in my head here.
Yeah, if I did win one of the matches I lost, I probably would have hit top 16, but
yeah,
top 16 wouldn't have cut the worlds anyway, so
correct. Yeah,
it just would have been neat.
5-2 with your losses early generally means your breakers aren't stronger than the people who have the losses late, which means you're in the bottom of the breakers, which means, yeah, top 16. But still, that's like positive record that you were, still fighting all the way through the entire event. There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't...
First bigger event as well, and you had to do a big trip to it and like be at a play. Like people underestimate how much like driving 9 hours can like mess up your ability to do things well the next day.
The local advantage of going to Fantasy Flight's Worlds events here. I don't gotta fly in or drive 15 hours.
But yeah, the event didn't end there. Because side events happened.
Ooh.
So, retro is, everything from when Jasco picked up the property on.
Legacy, got it.
Yeah, Legacy, yeah. It's our yeah.
I won't have you evaluate a lot of these characters because I could not tell you what the role in the meta is.
when you're jumping into a format that's like years and years, all of a sudden you turn the corner and like somebody goes Lantern of Insight, and you're like, what the hell's that?
Oh no! If you don't know what the Lantern of Insight does, you're cooked.
Yeah, right. Like, I just assume if you're in a format that big, somebody's gonna show up, and if they showed up with a deck, that means they have a plan.
Yeah. Basically, with 90% of the cards that I didn't recognize, I just took my opponent's word that they were saying what it did. But yeah, I played Sea Viper. Whose whole goal is to stun you out and do a big attack.
Charge Ains +2, enhance your EX or stun attacks, get +1 damage for each of your opponent's committed foundations. Okay, and then after the combat phase begins, real top card, oh, okay. That top effect is pretty nifty of like, you have a sort of 7-card hand with a mulligan.
Yeah, it's really neat. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, talking about Lantern of Insight. I love to see the top card of my deck and make a decision based on it. Yeah.
Weird.
So yeah, round 1 I played against this weird cat fairy.
Yo, okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling this. This is kind of sick.
Yeah. Weird cat fairy. Enhance top card of the opponent's discard pile. You can play one enhance ability printed on the remove from play card, paying no costs. Though it says top, so it's discard order matters. Let's go.
that's the game.
Let's go. And then if you have extra copies of Eugene as removed from the game during this enhanced step, your next check is +2.
So yeah, this is a thing that's important to talk about in retro, because in retro there's a thing called character stacking.
Yes.
Which if you play a character with the same name but has different abilities, you put that on top of your character. And
you evolve them.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah,
and they now have the other abilities.
Yeah, this was a thing in the Sabretooth and FFG era as well, where you would be able to play like you'd play Nightmare 1 in your deck to put over Nightmare 2 because it's still a 6 check and a 0 block if you flip it.
Yeah, so a thing that's been done away in the modern era. But yeah, obviously very much in play for retro.
Okay, hold on. I have a thought here on our cat fairy here.
Yeah.
Could you show up to the game with Eugenia 2?
Probably, legally speaking, yes.
like, obviously the worst idea possible, but it would be legal to do it.
It would be legal to do it, yes.
Legal to show up as like Dan to the event.
One step off being hellbent. Yeah.
But yeah, I did lose this game, because let me tell you, this card here, which reversal is a keyword that allows you to play attacks on your opponent's turn. Let me tell you, being stunned on your own turn is a hell of a thing.
Yeah, you get tapped down on your that again in the Sabretooth FFG era was like there were decks that just went, hey, reversal, slam down for your foundations. I'm gonna untap and kill you now.
Yeah. Yeah, this Kuwabara card in particular, allowing my opponent, because all my attacks have stun, so they get to copy
the stun.
my stun.
Whoops.
Yeah,
Good
it
on
was,
Kuwabara.
not great. Yeah, round 2, I played against, this character, which was honestly a very wild deck.
Okay. 721, you can...
Yo, love that text, baby. You know what your boy sees. You do some dumb shit, you win the game. Let's go.
Yo, yeah, you get 5 forms, it's over? All right. Okay, okay.
Oh, in legacy formats, shit like this is a nightmare because it's like one step away from being shockingly real at all times.
like you're just like, all right, let's go, and all of a sudden, like 5 robots show up and the game ends.
To answer chat, Seventh Cross and Red Horizon was their OC universes, basically.
OC stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Jasco era before Mega Man, but after the era where we're like Street Fighter, Soul Calibur, Sam Show, etc. was like unique, their own thing, and then they went over to Mega Man, to My Hero, and where we are now.
Yeah, so this was a neat deck because obviously I didn't know what this character did. So
my favorite thing looking at this is that, like, okay, so yeah, you know, new format or retro format, you don't know all the cards. Heidi does not have the win the game text on Heidi.
Nope. So, yeah, this person, game 1, I was deeply confused because they never attacked me because they didn't run attacks in their deck.
I love legacy formats for stuff like this.
Yeah.
For like real oops all spells behavior. Yeah. Love that.
So yeah, they
play
did.
Anything to land? No.
They did actually get a game off me on their win condition because I didn't know what was going on. But as soon as I realized, oh, they have an insta win condition. Okay, I'm gonna go in. Like,
yeah.
My character is aggro. That is not going to this is not.
This game plan's not fast enough to beat that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's very funny.
Very
Red deck
fun.
wins.
Yeah, very funny game though. Yeah, round 3 I played against Ice Twink from My Hero Academia. And this character, I actually do know what their meta stats is, so I will have you evaluate this.
Okay,
Are you asking for their meta in the legacy format or in current standard?
They have rotate out, so I'll be asking
Okay.
for their when they were in standard.
I see a counterspell.
Yeah,
something like
because the discard is from the top of your deck, and like that's not bad if you build your deck right. Like all this
Especially
really is
reading that top
asking
one.
is commit 1 foundation. Your attack gets +1 damage for every 2 ranged attacks in your discard pile. So you just build a ton of like ranged attacks that are incredibly beneficial to discard, and once per turn you have a what appears to be a borderline Omni Negate on your opponent's turn that they constantly have to play around. And it's an Omni Negate that probably gives you value and makes the first ability stronger in the future. And it's also 7-card hand, which means you can get locked out of the game hard. This seems like a pain in the ass.
20 health seems like fragile, but like necessarily, right? Like
Yeah, so this character didn't see like a ton of wins, or I should say didn't see a ton of players. But the like one player who did play him consistently topped events.
okay, so a deck that also has
Hard
like
to pilot.
a piloting.
So you want to know part of the reason why this deck was hard to pilot. So our deck doesn't have an upper limit on number of cards.
Oh god, okay.
So there was one player who played this character who would consistently show up to events with 120 card decks. With like 30 attacks and 80 foundations.
I'm just gonna get to the point where this enhance says plus 12 damage. Like,
it's a very funny deck.
okay.
Yeah, only really one player consistently topped with them, but and now we get to talk about a card that I fucking hate.
Ice
Actually,
Dragon
2
Seiryu,
cards.
baby. I remember you complaining about this card, Ice Dragon. I remember you being like, yo, I hate this card in particular.
My notes on this matchup just say, in all caps, Ice Dragon Seiryu is a bastard of a card.
I have to assume freeze all foundations committed by this stun is they don't untap.
Correct.
Oh.
So me, as the aggro deck, who doesn't build a ton of foundations at the start before going in, is playing with, 2 foundations maybe on my turn.
Right, and so one of the things I do recall from some of these older cards was that having a 2-check in your deck was something that you had as like a choice when you're deck building.
Yeah.
Like because the moment you include a 2 instead of 3+, that changes the math of what's possible on your flip, right? Like if so necessarily cards with 2 checks to be playable had to do some bullshit. And well this follows in that spirit.
And Bang is an interesting card because at face value, you might not see what makes it so busted.
So what does sealing do?
Sealing means the card that gets sealed has no text.
I mean, that's like really good in high power level formats because there's a lot of cards that are very difficult to answer, and blanking is usually really good there.
Also, enhance remove
draw.
means it like enhance remove there means it doesn't stick in your
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, just secret +3 damage after they choose not to block.
Yeah.
So,
Is like losing vitality different from taking damage in any meaningful way?
there are some cards that say when you lose health versus when you take damage.
Okay.
Gotcha.
That being said, you know what's a card in your staging area? Your character.
Your character?
You can just turn off your character with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's so funny.
Because you're right. I interpreted that as like it says card because foundation and asset are two card types. But if I could also just say, hey, no.
Yeah, so whenever I did have a turn where I could go in,
No, you don't.
I couldn't do my big damage pump.
So Shota here was absolutely freezing you out of the game. I understand.
Yeah.
you were getting.
I got my ass mollywopped.
You got thrown into a big old glacier. You got yeah.
This feels like a deck that if you do not immediately get under, it is over. It is over immediately.
It was very hard. But yeah, round 4 I played against Scorpion.
Hey, bud. Okay. So Scorpion here has burn 2 health. If your opponent blocks this attack, they burn 2 health. Burn 1 health for -+2 speed. Desperation, which I believe is under half HP.
Correct.
Okay. Your desperation attack gets +6 damage. Okay, so this is like Death's Shadow nonsense, right? You're burning your health total down to like, 10, and then your opponent dies.
Yeah, and notably, a lot of most desperation attacks get lowered costs when you're in desperation. So you see that desperation 4 on From Hell, instead of a 6 difficulty, that's a 4 difficulty. So yeah, Scorpion is a very difficult character to play against, because all of his attacks are going to be massive. I did almost take one game, but he blocked my final attack in a massive string, and I didn't have any more attacks to get the final hit.
This feels too like a really hard card to play defense against, because there's so many ways to either guarantee your attacks get in at a pretty low cost, or just like, chip in for damage, and being at low health is like good for you and very bad for your opponent comparatively.
Yeah, plus they also get to minus your speed by losing health, so they can play decent defense.
Yeah, at the cost of like only 1 life, which isn't too bad when you're preventing like 6 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I'll note, just kind of like looking at your games here versus the last chance, like the power band must be a little higher if we're having just these flat 2-0s when a deck locks you down versus like a lot more closer games on the last chance.
Yeah, I think also in general, it's just me being a lot less familiar with the format.
Sure, a bunch of these older cards that you're like, oh damn, I
don't know how to play into them. Though a character I should have experience playing into, but I don't. Midoriya 2. This is a character, I will just flat out say it, that was pretty mid from his entire existence, I think. I think he got like a couple tops, but that was when there were only a few characters in the format. And they played Back Alley Haymaker, which you saw before.
I was gonna say, I recognize this one from the last time we came around. Wasn't this one just banned? Was this
it was banned in standard, not in retro.
We're not in standard anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
That being said, this person played like 0 fucking defense, and I just ran over them.
Well,
they had very strong offense, but usually their turns ended with only 1 card in hand and sometimes 0 cards in hand. So I could just go, okay, I'm stunning your whole board out, give +8 damage.
Yeah, you just got to
God.
absolutely red deck win at him. Yeah.
Interesting, funny enough, Back Alley Haymaker did spawn kind of like an archetype of cards, which are called Haymakers.
That makes sense. That's pretty common in a lot of card
okay.
games. To like, if you get a card that's like iconic and very strong and ends up being banned, you'll get like different takes on it trying to fix it. Like famously, when we asked you about lotuses and all the different lotus
How many
eyes,
lotuses were?
would you believe it, Buddy? They printed another
There's a
goddamn
new one.
lotus.
I think I did remember
Yeah, they
seeing
did it
that,
again.
yeah.
They printed one in Aether Drift, and it's like a fun build around, but it absolutely just wins the game on the spot if it goes off. It's
Of course it
crazy.
does. So yeah, basically these 5 difficulty, 2 high block moves, 5 damage, stun 2. Yeah, it's very funny because there's actually another Haymaker style card coming in Critical Role, called Earthshaker. That's this exact sort of stun 2 and everything. It's just funny. But yeah, that was my retro attempt. Obviously, lack of experience in the format definitely is part of the reason why I lost. Also, just probably not deck building correctly due to the fact that there's so many more cards available to me than in standard.
But was it a good time? What did you enjoy?
I actually really like retro. It's just a shame that it's really only supported at these bigger events, so I can't can't really go to my local game store and play retro. We do have one retro sicko at my locals, but yeah, it's just kind of wild the kind of shit they printed back then. It's fun to look at that. But yeah, there was one final side event that we played in, which was the teams event.
Ooh.
So I don't know if there's probably something similar in Magic, but you got together a team of 3, and each player picked a deck, and it could not be and your team could not have the same character or starting symbol.
Okay. Yeah, this is a format I've played. This isn't Two-Headed Giant. That's a different format for those familiar with Magic. This is actually a team format. Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! Both I've seen this in, where you have, like, in Magic, I've seen it where you have one player playing Standard, one player playing Modern, one player playing Legacy, and they match against the opponents. I've seen it, but more commonly, I've seen it where 3 players are playing Standard. Your decks can't overlap cards. So, like, if your 3 decks were stacked on top of each other, that would have to be a legal deck. Same with Yu-Gi-Oh! You'd have 3 players playing the same format. Your deck, you can't just be playing 3 copies of the same deck.
Yeah. It's very, very similar here. I played with my friends, Koda and Ben. And obviously I played Pony. My friend Ben played Rodan. And
all right.
My friend Dakota played Emir. And all these are somewhat meta, I would say. Rodan has seen some fallen off in a more faster paced meta, but he's still very strong. In fact, he received 2 in the top 32, I think, at the actual Worlds event. Emir is the character I was talking about earlier, who is a character you play on Life. Like, the one good character you play on Life.
So that makes sense for them being good for a team event, because like that means there's
not a lot of
your other 2 decks are like functionally, it's like you don't have to worry about double dipping into each other's card pool with Ymir. Like Ymir's going to be playing just the cards they play and nothing else.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for a team format like that.
Yeah, notably, Ymir does have a transform like Bertolt does.
+2 speed, gain health, plus X damage where health. This is the number of times you gained health this turn. Okay, and then -3 speed on.
So yeah, I won't have you evaluate these characters, but there is a card from Yu Yu Hakusho called Immortal Shapeshifter. That says destroy one foundation, this attack gets +1 damage, and a responsibility that says when a foundation is destroyed, check against a 5. If it passes, you gain 1 health. So there is if you have 4 of them on play, you check 4 times. If they all pass, you gain 4 health in 1 turn. And they're all separate instances. So that's +4 damage right away.
I see.
So yeah, Ymir is a very big another aggro character. Because there are ways that she can build to 9 super fast. Which is why it was so weird that my friend Dakota was not doing aggro stuff. But yeah, round 1. We played against the spread of cards. And I will say,
Beautiful.
They are correspondent to the previous slide. So I played against Vash, my friend played against Rodan, and Dakota played against Devil Jin. Which, let me tell you about how mad I was at Ben for picking control mirrors every fucking time. That's not entirely true, but...
Rodan v. Rodan. Devil Jin.
We were the team that went to time every match, I will say.
I will say, that Devil Jin art is sick. That looks so good.
Devil Jin is such a cool fucking character. Like, I don't know if y'all have read him already, but you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, after you check an attack, add it to your card pool and draw 1 card. Your check gets +1 for each attack in your card pool. Enhance, add 1 attack from your discard pile to your card pool. Your attack gets +1 damage for each attack in your card pool. You may change this attack zone to be the zone of the added attack. So he has later option mix-ups and really wants to go deep on playing a lot of attacks into the card pool.
Yeah, he stuffs so many cards into his card pool, and there are card attacks that do effects while they're in the card pool. Like there's a card called Camouflage Counter, which says when an attack deals damage, you put it on top of your deck, and your next check gets +2.
And it's chaos, so you have really good stuff to be playing.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Vash the Stampede was played on Death, and Rodan was played on Void. And yeah, let me show you some of the
Chaos,
cards.
Death, Void, huh?
Hello.
These are some of the cards that kind of made that ran their archetypes in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Also, no, Indigo. The only limitations were can't have the same character, can't have the same starting symbol.
Okay, so there's not going to be a lot of overlap, but there could
There
be
can
overlap.
be, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since we now have Attuned, which cards only have 1 symbol and they're in a square. And those cards can go into any deck with, or any character with that symbol, even if you are not playing on that symbol.
Jin with the armbar. Rodan v. Rodan doing some punch rushing.
Yeah, so as you can probably see, the reason why these cards are played. Titan Armbar just says, hey, it's +2 damage when it's in your card pool. And you're stuffing shit into your card pool all the time.
It's Devil Jin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're dumping as much value in there as possible. Yeah.
Repeat 100% smash lets you play a punch package on Void and lets you ready everything and make it fast as hell because that's what Rodan does. And Combined Firepower is a controversial card, I would say. Because it doesn't count towards progressive difficulty after you remove a card to play a cost, and you may try to play this during this attack, notably from your discard pile.
So this just keeps happening.
Mm-hmm. And it says mill 4. This attack gets +1 damage for each non-foundation mill this way. Notably, Death and Void. I mean, Rodan in particular. Ron just says remove the top card of your discard pile as a cost. So it's already hitting Combined Firepower. However, there are cards like I'm With You, which you saw earlier, which says when it enters your discard pile, remove it. And Vash in particular mills stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Combined Firepower is controversial because it's very centralizing. Like pretty much every death deck runs Combined Firepower in it. Because it's just that strong of a card. And it's like it's sort of people want it to be banned. And it's like it's sort of in the sense where like I don't know if I would ban it purely on the strength of the card, but because of how every death deck plays it, if that makes sense. Like, it makes all death decks play the same.
It's a little too stapley. Yeah, that becomes a common problem and a very difficult question that's very game dependent on whether or not you ban stuff if they get too in every deck. Yeah.
Yeah, like the last 3 or so ban lists, people have wanted it banned, and it keeps dodging the ban list.
Do you think death decks would like fall off too hard if it got banned, or do you think they would hold up okay?
That's a good question because we haven't really seen a non-combined firepower deck.
It's that like we don't even know what those decks play like because
actually that's not entirely true because I just remembered something. There's at least one death deck that would probably survive without it. I don't know entirely about the rest, but for example, there's a lot of or not a lot, there's like 2 Critical Role characters that are coming out next set that are going to make very good use of Combined Firepower. So I don't know.
Probably not going to ban it.
Yeah,
if they're printing cards that are going to use it in the new set, yeah.
But so I did win my match against Vash. However, we did lose 1-2 overall. Dakota lost to Devil Jin and Ben lost to Rodan. His opponent's Rodan kind of just pumped out more damage and was capable of matching the speed reduction that his Rodan made because they remove the top of each other's decks and it just kind of nullifies each other. I still, to this day,
perfectly symmetrical Rodan.
I don't know why he chose to play the Rodan mirror, but he did. But yeah, round 2, we played against this bastard of a character. I fucking hate Purple Great Man. And then these 2.
Alright, we start with 531 once per turn. Add a recommendation from their stage to their card pool. If it's just Reynolds' turn, they may build the top card of their deck face. Okay, so like you bop a foundation out, and they get to replace it if it's their turn. And then discard a momentum, draw a card, make a thing 0 speed. Jin 631, commit +1 speed, +1 damage for each card in your card pool. Okay.
The Jin theme.
Yeah. And 8 or more foundations, +1 speed, +1 damage for free. So you. And then on the move. Oh, this one.
He has a transform, yeah.
Flips. Okay. -+3 speed. Discard a vestige card. Okay, so that's a specific card type.
It's a keyword.
Yeah. So that's like the one for all character stuff. It's a million symbols on that one.
Yeah, he has 5 for some reason.
That card strikes me like Benazuker strikes me as like I don't even know the backside, but I'm thinking it's a little juiced, a little strong. Okay, no, I'm feeling pretty good about that actually.
So, the Mineta player I played against was doing an aggressive D-build type build. He had several cards that say destroy one of your rival's foundation if you remove it, and that kind of thing. And obviously Mineta himself D-build. So my aggro was severely hampered when I'm only playing on one foundation by my turn 2. And plus, also, he could reduce my speed to 0, making something very hard to block, especially when, as you can see with Great Brush, he can give it throw, which means I'm taking damage. Guaranteed.
Right, that's block, you still take half.
Yeah.
Yeah, pain in the butt.
Yeah, I lost that match against the Mineta player. His aggressive D-building, I just couldn't keep up with it, and he just killed me. One thing...
In denial. Yeah, tough.
Yeah. One thing that's very funny, though, throughout the entire team's event, I was always done first.
Look, card games are more fun when people play fast. That's just how it is. It's just real. I appreciate that personally.
But yeah, I would like to hear your thoughts on Jin and Midoriya.
Midoriya seems crazy.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was already pretty high on Midoriya reading the front side, and then the text continued.
Also, 5 types, even if none of them are, Death, Void, Chaos, you still, that's such a wide card pool, right?
Yeah, and like the implication on the front side there of like the ability that cares about vestige cards tells me that like there has to be a pretty wide, like a specific pool for this character, right?
Yeah. Yeah, specifically, this character was released in a Challenger deck, so his entire deck was kind of built around those vestiges.
Okay. Jin just sort of feels a little fine.
Feels a little less good than the other Jin we just saw.
Yeah, I don't know. That like, again, we got text that's plus damage and speed, and then also plus damage and speed, and cool.
Also, historically, like mid-rangey stuff matches up really badly against control. So if this was against Rodon, this seems like it would be kind of a tough sell unless the Rodon's like really slow playing it.
Let me tell you about Ben. No, I love
Yeah.
the guy, but I'm gonna jokingly shit on him for his choice in control mirrors. Yeah, Jin is not good. I don't entirely know why. Actually, I do think I know. The person who played Jin was the second Bertolt player I played in the main event. And Mineta was playing on Death, so he could not play Bertolt.
Oh, okay. Had to
So
change
that's
decks.
yeah, probably why I was playing Jin. So Midoriya is actually very strong.
Not surprised.
Current prevailing deck is called the One Punch deck. There is a card called. Actually, do I have? Actually, you know what? I think I'll check and see if I have that. But we did end up winning this 2-1. Even if I lost my match, my other two teammates did cinch the wins. And also, I do not have that card, so I'll just tell you. There's a card called Phantom Threat, which says if it receives a speed increase, it gets +1 damage as a response. And then if you have played this response 5 times, it becomes a flash, which means it skips enhanced steps and just goes straight to blocks. Notably, Midoriya, the flip side of Midoriya's form, which says commit 2 foundations, your next attack gets +3 speed and +3 damage. Each of those counts as separate instances each time you play it.
Okay, so that's not +3 speed. That's +1, +1, +1.
Yeah. So, well, no. So you can do that for multiple times, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see. You could just go buff, buff, buff.
Yeah, you commit your board sideways. All of a sudden, this move is like 30 damage and 30 speed, 30 damage, and you can't interact with it at all. Catch. This person was not playing that deck. I have no idea what the fuck they were playing, but they were mostly playing on Deku's front side, which is not as good. So that is why my friend Dakota was able to clutch out the win. Because they never had to worry about a massive speed, massive damage move coming at their face. Yeah, round 3. I played against Sho Todoroki 4. Ben played against King Ghidorah.
Hell yeah.
Once again, another control beer. And Dakota played against Godzilla.
So, question for you on the format. You were saying about like Rodan picking the matches. Are you like choosing your opponent going in, or are you like seat A versus seat A, seat B before? Like, are they assigned before you know your opponent?
So both team captains roll dice, and whoever gets the highest result gets first pick. And then the other team gets to pick the next 2.
Okay.
And yeah, for some reason he chose to play against Ghidorah. Because go ahead and read Ghidorah's a lot of text.
Yeah, I remember this one from when we talked last time. I think Ghidorah like has 3 revives, right? Like,
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ghidorah has 3 heads. And yeah, he can remove something from his hand and play something from his discard pile. So that's why he's a very heavy control character. Plus, there's a lot of cards that say if you are at 10 or less health, do X.
So those are just free includes for Ghidorah.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's a Hiei card that says if you are at 10 or less health, -1 speed or +1 speed. So, yeah, he just gets to play those for free. He also gets to play this for free.
If you make a check with this card, if you have 10 or less health, it passes. Okay. Like, so you just get to block.
Yes.
Oh, and it punishes your opponent for having lands.
Yeah. Yeah, this is both an
Okay.
incredible block card and an incredible attack card.
I see.
Especially in Ghidorah. Because, yeah, always has less health. And as for Godzilla, this was a part of the Godzilla decks and Chaos in general, really, that I haven't mentioned until now.
Flip, so once per, while it's in play, after you attack, deals damage, add it to the top of your deck. Your next check to play an attack gets +2. Okay, so 2 things here. 1, after you hit, you get to remove the attack from the pool, making your progressive difficulty back to whatever. 2, you know what the next check is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's at +2, and it's at +2.
Yeah. Notably, there's a card that was released in Attack on Titan, called Horrifying Realization.
Okay, so you redraw the attack as
That
well.
is form speed draw. So before you play your attack and before you check the attack you just put on the top of your deck, you just draw it. So, you get to reuse cards like fucking Determined Advanced. Which, by the way, Determined Advance is one of those $60 cards I was talking about!
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
But yeah, I've kind of talked about, Ghidorah being strong, and obviously we know Godzilla is very strong. What do you think about Shoto Todoroki 4?
I feel like it depends a lot on how the ranged card pool is. But if you can play a lot of ranged cards pretty quickly, actually no, it's only once per turn, so that feels less awful.
Is sealing a permanent thing, or is it a turn thing?
Just till end of turn.
I'm not impressed then. Like in the sense that the second effect here is this card can't trigger the first card, right? Like about for every 2 sealed. I don't see that enhance working with this card, so obviously there must be a ton of support that you're not showing me that's very strong.
No.
All right.
No, Shoto is pretty mid. There is a good number of seal support coming in Critical Role, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to push this character into relevancy.
Because as printed, this card doesn't have text. Obviously, it removing opponent's text is very powerful, but the second enhance has no text.
Yeah,
it's just +1/+1.
Unless you're playing like a full sealed deck, which based on how rare it seems like sealed is, considering like the Cowboy and his Bebop one was like super broken.
Cowboy and his Bebop. So yeah, Shoto in Jetburn, which is where this character comes from, he did get all of his stuff is based around sealing, but it's just not enough. So I felt really bad for this girl because it felt a little bit like her team fettered a pony, because her 2 teammates were playing pretty meta decks and she was not.
They just you were the free fuck it, let them win one. We'll try and take the other 2. Yeah.
That being said, we did win 2-1. Obviously, I won my game, and it was Ben who won his game against Ghidorah. Cole lost against Godzilla. Though, Speaking of fucking Godzilla.
Welcome back, Godzilla.
Yeah, so I play.
Woman. What a weird name for a card.
Woman.
Yeah, don't ask me.
Woman. All right.
Woman.
My Hero Academia is fucking weird, man.
Oh, is that My Hero Academia?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry, I don't believe in anime. You know how it is.
Yeah, so I played against Godzilla for the third time that weekend.
Oh. Yeah, I hope you can climb the hill that is Godzilla here.
Yeah, Ben played against Woman. And Dakota played against Hawks. So yeah, go ahead and read both Woman and Hawks.
Alright, remove one card from the discard pile. Attack it's +1 speed, +2 damage. Remove an attack +2 damage. Okay. That strikes me as real buff. Commit before the block step of your rival's attack -3 speed. Draw 1 card. That's
Oh, repeatable draw and defense.
once per. That's got commit.
Yeah, I mean, repeatable
But,
isn't
yeah,
like
repeatable,
once per
yeah,
turn.
every turn,
Yeah.
The 5-card hand on here is the part that worries me.
This does feel like Ben got into another control mirror.
Control mirror. Yeah, I was gonna say, another control mirror. We're seeing 34 health and a big old.
So I will say, Woman is not a control character. She is a 5-hand aggro character.
Okay.
+4 damage. Definitely.
True.
reads.
Yeah. Aggro. Yeah. And then Hawks. At the start of your combat phase, add up to 2 copies of Hawk's Feather from your discard pile to your hand. Once per turn, changes attack zone to a different one. You may
High.
change its speed and damage. Oh, that is high? Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Response once per enhanced step after an attack speed is modified, it gets +1 or -1 speed. What is Hawk's Feather? That feels pretty
So-
cool.
Yeah,
I will
hard to
show.
evaluate without that card.
First off, I'm so sick of this big fucking lizard.
Understandable. Have a great day. Yeah, lovable bastard, but a little too prevalent, it seems like.
After the 3rd time. Okay, Hawk's Feather. If your opponent tries to exile this card, no. Enhance hand. Okay. So this is a repeatable jab that is like also a bit of a either control, speed up, speed down.
Yeah. Hawks in general very much revolves around Hawk's Feather. For obvious reason, considering he adds them to his hand every turn.
Mm-hmm. Can you go back to Hawks one more time?
Yeah.
Switch its speed and damage. Oh, that's really cute. Because you have the big speed that we just saw, the feather. That. Okay, I think Hawks is pretty dang interesting, having this recursion piece, and also do you recur the cards after you drop to 6?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you have an effective 8-card hand.
Yeah, you're effectively 8-hander, yeah.
Okay. Hawks read's pretty neat. I don't know exactly how strong that is. I'm gonna go with reasonably.
Seems fun. At the very
Yeah.
least, if nothing else, seems like a really fun deck to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will show you one other piece of the general Hawks decks right now, of those who play them.
Oh, this looks broken with the feather. Okay, yeah.
Also, the ability to swap around here. Okay. I see. This attack just hits then, right?
Yeah.
6 speed?
Also, it taps you down too, right? Because commit 3 rival foundations.
Well, that's if they're in deadlock. Which
Oh,
is
right,
11 or more
deadlock
foundations,
is
yeah.
11 or more, right. Okay, yeah, I forgot that's the requirement for that. I mean, even then, the attack gets +3 damage for each printed mid. And it's like all mids. And then Hawk can like swap it to being a high if need be, and also do the little inversion after the mid is out. Yeah, after the mid has been counted. So like this counts a bazillion mid attacks, and then surprise, it's an overhead. Block this over. Sorry for being a man.
That's where you gotta play woman. Like,
oh yeah, actually. What are your thoughts on woman?
I'm still having trouble getting over the name, I'll be honest.
Yeah, this feels like a reasonably strong mid-range aggro card, but not like a crazy engine on its own, and nowhere near as much flexibility as like Pony.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised at the existence of like one of the draws of this game is like, you get to play as Godzilla or your favorite My Hero character, and I'm like, who are the people out there that are like, hell yeah? I mean, I guess who doesn't want to play as woman? I suppose that's I'm talking myself into it. Actually,
trans rights are human rights. Yeah.
I'm actually talking myself into it.
So I will say, woman, when she was first revealed, had a lot of hype behind her. She was kind of, at first glance, she was going to be kind of the premier 5-high or 5-hander aggro, and just constantly throwing attacks at you that were these big, massive attacks.
But
then Godzilla came out.
Yeah. And Godzilla has a 6th hand size.
And same health total, and gives everything with difficulty 5 or greater, +3 damage.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so she had a lot of hype pre-release, but because the Godzilla Challenger decks came out so quick after that set, she kind of just got super eclipsed. It also didn't help that, like, right after that set released with Rodan and Ghidorah, we were in a super hard control meta for a little while because of Rodan and Ghidorah, and she just doesn't thrive well against control. Which is
you need to be super fast against control, generally speaking, and so like a mid-rangey aggro probably doesn't get there.
As for Hawks is actually really interesting because he's very similar to that Shoto that I showed you a while back during Retro, where he doesn't have a ton of people playing him, but the people that do consistently make top cuts.
That makes sense to me.
This feels like again the like what you can do with like Hawk's Feather. Like, hey, you have extra blocks in your hand, you have extra speed, you've got like speed reduction, you've got all these like options, and decks like that pull like are the kind of thing that pull like, hey, a player plays this, perfects it, and they can hang for a long time.
It's also a case of like you really need to get your reps in with that kind of deck, because like you can't be getting surprised by shit, because if you get surprised by shit, you often lose on the spot.
Yeah, I will say, something that's very funny is the person who pilots him the most is a Yu-Gi-Oh player.
That makes sense. Yu-Gi-Oh's a game all about like knowing exactly where to cut your opponent's line off to devastate them the hardest. Like you have 1 or 2 hand traps, and you have to know when to deploy them to do your disruption so your opponent can't play through it. Especially now that there's like multiple archetypes that can play through some level of just like 1 or 2 pieces of disruption. It's like really key.
Yep. You got to know, like, you aren't just pulling the trigger on blocking immediately, or to imperm this specific piece of the line, and the knowledge helps. The reps help. So,
but unfortunately, we did lose. Ben was the one who took the 1 win. I once more lost against Godzilla.
0-3 against Godzilla.
I cannot win against Godzilla. And Dakota lost against Hawks. As for round 5 is very funny
Yo!
Boy.
Hey, guess who's back?
Godzilla again!
It's my boy thriving out in the wild.
So I did actually put these in the wrong order because as soon as I saw the third Godzilla the third Godzilla we played that day, and Ben won the die roll, I flat out told him, "You are the only one who's not played against Godzilla today. You are playing against him." So yeah, I went against Bowie. My friend Dakota went against Levi. This person was playing a very different list than the other Levi I played against, because Bowie was on death, so he had to play Levi and Air. But yeah, go ahead and read Bowie for me.
All right, we got 5 hand size, 36 goddamn health. Enhance once per turn. Your turn. Destroy a ready face-up foundation. Top 2 cards as foundations. Okay. Form, commit. Your next attack this turn gets +X, where X is face-down foundations. Okay. So, talking about like a control build where you're like ramping up slowly with this enhance once per turn to get to the punch that is, +6 or something with Bowie here. I mean, I guess that makes sense. He just hits you with that giant fucking hammer thing.
He hits you with
Bowie
one
has.
big attack.
Yeah, well, like I'm picturing Bowie with a giant like hammer thing, right? Like
He has a big axe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, big.
Yeah, he's like the bull man archetype fighter
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
But so it looks like you've got like another control match going, or like you've got a control opponent going.
A little bit, yeah. I will say it is. You'd be surprised at how fast you can ramp up face down foundations, especially on death. There's a lot of foundations that do it. That being said, this is the main attack that I saw throughout the game.
Oh, seal their block. That sucks.
Also, 10 damage.
Yeah.
And if 10 damage, and if it is blocked, give me another one, please.
And yeah, the Levi was playing a Storm of Arrows.
Oh, hey, welcome back, Storm of Arrows.
Yeah, notably, Storm of Arrows did get errated.
To work how it should?
Yeah, to work how they probably more intended it to.
So that it can't get itself out of there?
Yeah.
So yeah, he was going for a ranged weapon type build for Levi. Notably, I did win against the Bowie player. Bowie hasn't seen much success at all. He kind of just, unless you manage to make your big attack a flash, which on the symbols that Bowie has, there's only really like one good flash attack, and it's on water. There are just so many like resets and set to 0 in the format that his stuff just kind of can't function.
Oh, he just gets blanked too easily.
Yeah. And then your stage is all just blank attacks, or blank foundations, so there isn't much you can do on defense. He did take a game off me, though, because there's a card called Koenma's Task, which allows you to cancel an action. I played a card called Referee Jury, which sets an attack's damage to 4. And he canceled that, and I died. Kind of just all there was to it. That being said, we did lose 1-2. So we had a full record of 2-3. I'm gonna blame Ben for picking all the control mirrors. I don't actually blame him, but because Levi wasn't a control Godzilla is a control character. He just got nuked by Godzilla as everyone else fucking does.
Yeah, it seems like Godzilla was
like
performing pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, actually not in the main event. In the main event, I think there was only 1 or 2 Godzillas in like the top 32.
That's still like extant, I suppose, but not like as expected.
What were the big cards? Are we gonna get a slide of that?
Yeah, so we actually will. So the actual World Championship. Here we have a picture of everyone. All 64 of them. There's my friend in the crown right there. Because he played Historia, who is royalty in Attack on Titan. So he decided to go super extra and bought a crown and a cape. But yeah, for the top 64, for when it went to day 1 of Worlds, which was Swiss, it's Swiss and then cuts to top 32, this is what the meta looked like.
Okay, and a number of these we have seen, not all of them though. Because there's Dazuku, there's Godzilla, there's Pony, King Ghidorah. Haven't seen Hanja, and we haven't seen... Yeah, and we haven't seen Byakko.
Yep. I will definitely show them to you, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what top 64 looked like. Yeah, lots of Amir, lots of Pony. I was actually really surprised to see a lot of King Ghidorah, but... yeah, so first I do want to, show just kind of a couple cool decks that I saw in, like, the top 32. That were kind of either unexpected or played against what, is traditionally played. So that being, Garrett Curse with, Rodan specifically on air and not void, which is what Rodan is usually played on.
Yeah, I do want to echo what people are saying. Like, when you got a meta that's like that wide of decks, that is a nice spread.
I think the errata and ban that we got before Worlds helped a lot, in that regard. But yeah, so Garrett's whole game plan was he removes the top of his deck, Fajin Flurry, during Fajin Flurry, gives him a momentum. He spends that momentum for EX3, gets another momentum, and then he could potentially even use vertical maneuvering equipment to spend that momentum, get another momentum, and also change the zone.
Going back to my mental image of what I said about Godzilla with the yo-yo, this does have Rodan doing like Fajin flying around and then using like the maneuvering like equipment to just like grapple onto buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like fly up and then like use the jets to like boost back down and like unfly like Sentinel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also played Walk the Dog, which is
and Rodan's got the
yeah, of course, Rodan's got the yo-yos. And World's Weakest Hunter, which is a very new card from Soul Leveling, which says after this attack deals damage, you may remove 1 foundation from your stage. Notably, that's a may, not must, and draw 1 card for each card in your remove from game pile, max 3. Rodan is removing cards from his discard pile on every attack.
I see.
So that is usually always activated, and you're always drawing 3 cards. Assuming it hits, of course, but Rodan makes things fast as fuck. But yeah, it being on air instead of void and being a slightly more aggro package for Rodan compared to the more controlling nature of void, I thought was really neat. Garrett Kerr's got 16th place, I believe. So, props to him. Luke Quincy Playing Jin from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh, it's Gene. Oh, brother.
Incredible voice.
He got top 32, I believe. This is a character that has kind of been outclassed by Rodan. If you read what he does, you'll probably see why.
Yeah, +2 or -2 speed, melee attack this way. So similar concept, a little bit weaker. Yeah.
Being a 6-hander instead of a 7-hander actually matters quite a bit for control matchups.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the insane draw that Rodan does. But hey, he still managed to make top 32 with a very funny list. So you remember I was talking about Shoto.
Oh, another too many cards deck. Yeah.
32 attacks, 54 foundations.
Show up with an EDH deck.
101 cards.
Cool. Show up with an EDH deck. Yeah.
Just very funny whenever these big ass fucking decks show up. It's not common, but it is very funny whenever it happens. That attack is showing already, but that's fine. Barlow Guess with Gene is very interesting. If you give me your thoughts on the character real quick.
I mean, it seems pretty solid. Seems pretty doable. Seems like an easy effect to get going, and chaos is good. Do you want to just tell us on these ones since we're kind of closing in on time?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So Gene is a character that everyone was super down on when he first released because he has the exact same effect as vertical maneuvering gear, which everyone can play. So no one really saw play with him until basically until this Worlds event, which he hit top 16 out completely out of nowhere. No one saw this deck coming.
Nice. Love to run a rogue deck.
And yeah, we have the second place winner with Crystal Lens, who is another character that didn't come out as nowhere as Jean did, but last Nationals, Travis Stangeman played the same deck and kind of blew everyone away because no one had this character on their radar. And if you read her, she seems very unassuming. The big thing with Krista is she just rewards very solid play. She doesn't do anything hyper strong or
just consistent good stun and lockdown.
Yeah.
While getting things done. Yeah.
Yeah, just very consistently does okay, I see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw the DM. In that case, I will skip ahead and talk about the winner of the entire thing, which is Kevin Broberg on Hanji Four Eyes. In Attack on Titan, they released a number of very high difficulty attacks with 4 control checks. And this deck was built around these 4 checks entirely. And this was another character that people had on their radar, at the very least, unlike
but
Krista.
overperformed pretty aggressively.
But just did extremely well. The 4 checks allow her to build a lot more aggressively, which allows her to destroy more stuff, which makes her game plan go higher. And in general, yeah, Kevin Broberg took an incredibly convincing 2-0 win against Travis Benjamin. This character just showed up and massively overperformed. And yeah, I want to show, since we are short for time a little bit, I will just glance past these. Show the total top 16.
Pretty good spread.
Yeah, compared to the last major event, which had a shit ton of only Chaos and Death decks, I think the meta is in a lot better place, and we're going to be seeing rotation happening, with the new set coming out. So, and obviously, a lot of characters are losing lots of previous staples. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, and we're getting Guilty Gear at the end of the year, so you know.
Yo.
Hey, all right.
Top tier soul.
God, I hope. That'd be so fucking funny.
Bandit. But
Heavy
now
attacks and overhead, except for 2D, which leads to 1 million damage. All right, yeah, sorry, keep going.
I was gonna say, just the spread here, like there's a lot of like, looks like there's the bracket that's just a bunch of ponies there, but
Yeah.
Forerunner, but like a lot of decks. That's nice to see. You'll like to see a spread like that.
Yeah, a lot better. Like I said, a lot better than the last couple events that we've had, which were just straight chaos death, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, the hits to the characters that need hits, helped a lot. It turns out. Weird that. But yeah, since I know, so why does the pony have horns in it? That's a great question. Yeah, I am going to raid y'all over to another Universe's streamer. Yeah, since I know we're a bit short on time, my apologies. I didn't mean for it to go this long.
The card talking going long.
Card talking, yeah,
Weird
it
that.
happens.
Never happened.
Yeah, he's going over his own Worlds Recap, and he was one who actually managed to make the top 8 for the last chance qualifier, so yeah.
Nice.
If you're
thank you for the talk.
Yeah,
I'll catch y'all around.
Yeah, if you're interested in seeing more of this card game, he's kind of the main guy right now. So, we'll see you